Welcome back to Horrifying Stories. When obsessions transcend reality, it can be dangerously scary. This week's story is about a teenager who became so obsessed with the movie Rob Zombie's Halloween that he had the urge to kill his whole family. This is their horrifying story. Viewer discretion is advised. Jake Evans was a 17-year-old teenager who lived with his family in Annetta, South Texas. To many people, Jake appeared to be quiet and shy. However, behind the nice kid image was a teen secretly obsessed with the serial killer Michael Myers in Rob Zombie's Halloween. Now, the movie Halloween was a slasher franchise that consisted of a total of 13 films, on top of its novels, comic books, and other merchandise. The first ever installment of the movie was directed by John Carpenter, released in 1978. Michael Myers was the main character in the movie, a 6-year-old child who murdered his own sister, Judith Myers. After having escaped from the mental institution he had been admitted to for 15 years following the murder, he goes on stalking and killing people every Halloween. This disturbed character became a serial killer who never really talked but just goes on murdering people. Rob Zombie's version in 2007 was a remake of this 1978 original film, but with additional details highlighted into the story. Compared to the original, the 2007 remake was more graphic and disturbing, further intensifying his unstoppable urge to kill. Not only did he kill his sister Judith, but also his sister's boyfriend, and his own mother's abusive boyfriend. After escaping from the mental institution, he then finds the whereabouts of his other sister, kills her friends and adoptive family, before going after her. Heavily obsessed with the 2007 movie from the first time he watched it, Jake found himself watching the movie over and over again. He got so engrossed with the story that it led him to slowly believe that he was Michael Myers. His obsession rooted deeper and deeper. Confusing it with reality, Jake struggled with his urges, until he gave in on October 4, 2012. Around 12:32 in the morning, Parker County, Texas 911 received a call from Jake Evans, reporting that he had killed his mother Jamie, and his sister, Mallory.
Parker County 911, where is your emergency?
My house.
What's the address?
152 River Creek Lane.
Okay, what's the emergency?
I just killed my mom and my sister.
What?
I just killed my mom and my sister.
You just killed your mother and your sister? How did you do that?
I shot him with a .22 revolver.
When asked for more details, Jake cooperated with the dispatcher, sharing information on where he put the gun, and if he had any kind of medication among other details. However, when asked as to what motivated the crime, Jake had this chilling response.
Okay, is there any reason that you were so angry at your mother and your sister?
I don't know, I wasn't, it's weird, I wasn't even really angry with them. It just kind of happened. I've been kind of planning on killing for a while now.
The two of them, or just anybody?
Pretty much anybody.
Why?
I don't know. I don't really like people's kind of attitude.
Right.
I think they're very emotional. I don't know, verbally rude to each other and stuff like that.
Right.
Just my family, I don't know, they're just kind of really, I guess this is really selfish to say, but to me, I felt like they were just suffocating me in a way. I don't know. I think, obviously, I'm pretty, I guess, evil.
All throughout the call, the dispatcher was notably very calm and collected, continuing to gather as much information as she can from Jake. She reassured Jake that she was there to listen and help him through this. At one point in the 25-minute call, as if snapping back to reality, Jake made this stark statement.
I assure you, I definitely don't like myself, you know. But I'm just so freaked out by guns now, and just to let you know, like, I hate the feeling of killing someone. I'm gonna be messed up.
Jake would then go on having very conflicting statements showing how disturbed his mind really was. One moment he talks about how sweet her 15-year-old sister was. The next moment he remarks how racist and rude she can also be, as if trying to justify his own doing. Then in another, he shifts to worrying about having nightmares because of this incident, somehow making it look as if he was seemingly surprised by his own violence. Many times during the call, the dispatcher calmed him down by asking him to do deep breathing. She stayed on the call with Jake, listening to him and calming him down until the police officers arrived outside their house. She then asked if he was willing to walk outside the house by himself, and upon Jake's confirmation, gave out some instructions for him as soon as he steps outside the door.
Okay, Jake, what I want you to do is, after we get through talking, I want you to put the phone down and leave it in the kitchen. You don't have to hang it up, okay? But I want you to walk outside, but when you're walking through the house and outside, stay visible. You know, don't hide behind any furniture. Open the front door, step back, put your hands behind your head, and slowly walk outside, okay? Or I'm not behind your hand, but keep your hands up in the air. Just walk very slowly and walk outside, but keep your hands visible. All right, sweetie?
All right.
Okay, go ahead and put the phone down and do it. And then just listen to what Sergeant Fletcher has to say. He's very appreciative that you're willing to come out on your own. He thinks that's great, all right?
All right.
And I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
By 2:46 in the morning, under police custody, Jake gave a full account of what had transpired that day. He and his sister Mallory went for an appointment with the allergist that day. While at the doctor's clinic waiting for their turn, Mallory made a racist comment against a black woman who was with them in the waiting area. Jake got enraged at her sister's behavior. Upon seeing Jake's reaction, Mallory tried to take back what she said and said it was just a joke. However, this did not appease Jake, and he walked out of the clinic feeling angry and frustrated at his sister. As they arrived home, Jake went on to watch Rob Zombie's Halloween. It had been his third time watching the film that week alone. Watching the film, he has always felt amazed at how Michael Myers looked so at ease at killing, and how he showed little to no remorse. That made him wonder if it would feel the same if he also killed someone. In the movie, he saw Mallory in the character of Michael's sister, who also had this vulgar and rude behavior. With all his pent-up frustrations towards his family, and his own perception of how the rest of the world seemed to be racists, Jake associated himself a lot with Michael Myers. After watching the film, he decided to throw the tape onto the trash, as he didn't want anyone to think that the movie was what actually motivated him to do the horrendous crime. He went out to play golf outside of their home that afternoon, but his emotions and urges were simply at its peak that day. He went back inside the house and planned out how he could kill his family. With his dad being out on a business trip in Washington, D.C., his original plan was to kill his mother and younger sister inside their house, then head on to his grandparents' house across the street to kill both of them, including his older sister, who was living with their grandparents. Next, he would wait until his other older sister, who was in college at that time, arrived the next morning to kill her as well. Mallory kept bugging him that afternoon to forgive her for what had happened. Although authorities have found no evidence that they had a serious conflict prior to that encounter, it was the piled-up frustrations, unresolved anger, and resentment he felt against his entire family that he just wanted to murder every single one of them. Then, in his deranged frame of mind, he became Michael Myers. Triggered, Jake went to his parents' room and got his dad's knife. He went back to his room, struggling between wanting to kill his sister, but not causing her too much pain. A few minutes later, he found himself walking towards her room with the knife in one hand. He quietly opened the door to his sister's room and silently approached her, just like how Myers did in the movie. As he tapped on her shoulder, her sister was shocked to see him creepily behind her, but took the opportunity to say sorry for what she did that morning. Hesitantly, he then asked Mallory if she still wanted to watch the movie with him. He sat down beside her on the edge of the bed and watched the movie, with the knife slipped into his side pocket. He continued to struggle. Mallory, noticing he was unusually quiet, tried to budge him into easing up. Suddenly, Jake grabbed a pillow and hit Mallory with it, trying to get some of his rage out. However, Mallory took it playfully and grabbed a pillow herself, making it end up as a pillow fight. Conflicting thoughts ran through Jake's mind at that time. Again, he realized he didn't want to cause too much pain to his mom and sister. Suddenly he stopped hitting her with the pillow and went immediately back to his room. He decided he would need to use the .22 revolver he stole from his grandfather. He loaded the gun and kept walking to and fro inside his room, struggling with his rage and urges, until finally he decided to step out of his room. He went on and stood outside the door of Mallory's room for 5 minutes. He then knocked loudly, telling Mallory that their mom was looking for her and wanted her to go down. As Mallory opened her room's door, she was shocked and speechless at the sight of Jake, already pointing the gun at her. It was not a good joke at all, she nervously told Jake. It was the creepy and chilling look in Jake's eyes that responded to her. She tried to escape, but as she was running down the stairs, Jake had already pulled the trigger. As Jake's mother heard the shots, she ran up and saw Mallory already lying down on the stairs, unconscious. She looked up and saw Jake with the chilling look on his face holding the gun. At that moment, as Jake turned to look at his puzzled and frightened mom, the truth sunk in. He had just shot and killed his own sister. However, it didn't stop him there. He thought to himself, the damage has already been done. It was too late, and then he proceeded to fire shots at his own mother as well. With both of them down, and blood all over the floor right before him, he ran back to his room while in a state of shock. The truth slapped him. Now he had just killed his mom and sister. As if regretting what he had done, he unloaded the gun and began to realize the consequences of what he just did. It was only then that he saw why Michael Myers could kill without emotions, because it was not reality. This was reality. But just as he was about to snap back, he heard a noise from outside the room. He went outside to check and found out Mallory was still moving. He quickly went back inside his room, reloaded the gun and ran back to where Mallory was, along the stairs. He cocked the gun once more, whispered he was sorry, then shot Mallory in the head. Turning towards his mom, though she was no longer moving, he went on to shoot her mom in the head as well, to make sure she was dead. Based on his original plan, he was just getting started. After a while, Jake went out of their house to continue what he had already started, and began to walk towards the direction of his grandparents' house across the street. However, for some reason, he suddenly stopped and decided not to push through with his original plan. Slowly, he made his way back into their house, went to the kitchen, and picked up the phone to call 911 to turn himself in. Somehow, he realized things did not turn as he had expected them to be. He actually believed he could go on killing people without any emotions, but he was completely wrong. It was all an illusion. Jake's obsession got the best of him, and he was completely disillusioned to actually believe the movie was reality. However, just like how it was in the movie, Jake also ended up in a mental facility after his arrest. He pleaded guilty at the trial and has been sentenced to 45 years in prison. By 2035, he will be up for parole. Mysteriously though, ever since his shocking and detailed confession, he hasn't since talked about the incident. He has also refused to make contact with any of his family members, nor was he willing to talk to any psychologist or psychiatrist. Right now, nobody else knows what exactly is going on in the mind of Jake Evans. Thank you for making it this far. If you liked this video, please click that like button and subscribe to our channel. Let us know what you think about this episode in the comments below. Again, thank you, and see you on the next one.